Morning and welcome to the members area here at Valuator on this Tuesday the 11th of January. Not sure about anyone else whereabouts you're living, but when I got up first thing this morning to get at that news agent to get the Racing Post, it was cold enough. We had a good frost down here, but I'm pleased to say Exeter does go ahead. They tell me over the phone this morning that they had 8 millimetres of rain and that the ground is heavy, soft in places. Now I've got one selection for you today, and that will come in the 340 at Exeter, which is the Veterans Handicap Chase, which is a Class 2 for animals from 0 to 100 and 150. It is for the old boys, but take it from me, these boys can still mix it with the youngsters in competitive handicaps actually. So I see this, even though being in a veterans in chase, I think this probably be form that we can keep a good eye on, and I think I've identified one horse that is particularly well handicapped, and that comes with in the horse Dr. Richard Newland trained Pinot de Ré, which Sam Twiston-Davies rides. Now on the face of it, last time we seen the horse was just before Christmas, the 21st of December, and it ran in a handicap hurdle at Haydock. This horse mixes it. It can do it over hurdles, it can do it over fences, and it runs its race on both disciplines. So I have no concern to that. When I was slightly concerned when I watched his last race at Haydock, he was actually beaten. He was beaten back in the seventh. He was beaten some way, well over 20 lengths. He rather caught the eye in running. If you were watching it in running, he was going ever so well. He made a slight mistake free out. I see in the Racing Post analysis thing that the error was, at that time in the race, that was the end of him really. I didn't think the mistake was that bad. He lost a bit of momentum, but he didn't finish very well that day. That was slightly off-putting. However, I did notice he ran only 7 days before that, and this is real good form, that 7 days before at Carlisle. Again, admittedly, it was over hurdles, but that day at Carlisle, it was a Class 2 race. Kaki de la Prix won the race that day. That horse went on in the Challow hurdle at Newbury. Obviously, it was a Grade 1 company. I know it was well beaten there, but I've taken quite a positive view of the Challow hurdle this year, and I still think Kaki de la Prix ran in about the mid 140s for me that day. Trusting Times was back in third at Carlisle that day. It was 20 lengths they come clear of that horse. Trusting Times, you go look back in through his form. He'd been running in Grade 3 company and been running okay as well. On that, I think Pinot de Ré is ran over hurdles for a mark of 150. Bearing in mind this horse is only running off a mark of 133 over the fences. Before that, he was highly tried in a Grade 3 over the national fences, where unfortunately he fell. And then, more interestingly, when we go back a little bit further, he ran at Fosslas. Remember Pandoxa of Alan King's that started at Stratford on that winning run? Well, before his winning run had even finished, Pinot de Ré gave that horse a lot of weight that day at Fosslas. And considering that Pandoxa is now 140 rated chase, if you go back and look over that, again, I believe is very, very well handicapped through that form. Going back to what I just mentioned before, obviously when we want to see a horse in form going into a race, normally with selections. But what I did find interesting, it did cross my mind when I looked at it, that the fact that the race might have just been one too many. He ran on the 7th of December, he then ran on the 15th of December, and then only 7 days later, when he just looked very tired actually. It was nothing to do with the trip that day. I always think it's worth just glancing over and just having a look through quotes from trainers at the time. And I did find one. This horse used to be trained by Philip Fenton until the summer of this year, and I've actually got a quote from him over when the horse won on the 13th of April at Downpatrick. He said, "We were about spectacle of this horseman when it ran over further than today. It is one over 3 mile 2. We had a bit of spectacle about the trip. We thought it might be behind him. He improved with each run over fence of the season. The first couple of runs, his jumping was very guessy. We might bypass Punchestown. I might come back a bit quick. He prefers a little bit of time between his races. He might be a horse for a Midlands National," and he goes on to talk about the Galway Plate. But that bit there, he says he prefers a little bit of time between races. I think maybe the fact that he was coming out quickly, that might well be a reason. The reason why he didn't seem to get home that day. And the fact that he's been freshened up and had 24 days up, I'm backing him today, and I think at 11-2 with Stan James. I think on what my research of what I've outlined there this morning, I think he deserves to be half the price on that if it wasn't. And I think the only reason he is that 11-2 is for that last run, because on the face of it, it was a little bit disappointing. But as I said, my thought of when I was having it might have come too soon. And then his old trainer mentioning in that quote, which I just found, that he does need a little bit of time between his races. So that's the only selection today. So that's Pinot Dury in the 340, which is each way at the moment. At time of this recording, he's 11-2 with Stan James. Do come back tomorrow. Newbury, my local track tomorrow. I'll be off to Newbury after I've spoke to you in members area. So do log in tomorrow, and excuse me, and don't forget. Most of you have now. I'm getting more and more of interest for the text alert. If you haven't done so and you would like the free text alert, this will always be a free service, then just email me. You should have my email address. I've sent everyone who's joined a welcome letter. Just send me an email with your mobile number and I'll get that onto you, and you can have that. And also remember that I appreciate that not everybody can log in. They have work commitments. Can't always just log in to see this. I always leave, whatever happens during the day, I always leave this video on for the majority of the day. It will be probably taken off later the following evening. Sometimes it even stay on until the new video goes on the next day. I just think it's important to give people the chance, if they want to see the analysis, even though it might be a little bit after time, you can do so. Also, don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Value Rater, and also on Facebook, and that's also at Value Rater. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a good day, and make sure you tune in to the 340 Exeter and for a nice each way selection, Pinot Dury. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Bye.